Good evening, dear Zinzino family. Today I choose the topic recruiting. We will not talk about the business presentation, but I think we will talk about a really important topic. And basically is how to attract people who truly want what you have. And that's something I think is really powerful. And let me start this call very intentionally because recruiting is not complicated. What is the most complicated part is we people. And even more than that, our thoughts are the most complicated because we overthink a lot of things. We always ask ourselves, who should I message? How do I say it perfectly? Or what if they say no? What if I don't come across as good enough? And that's exactly why I believe more than 90% of the people are not recruiting. So it's not because they lack the ability, but because of how they think. And for me personally, recruiting is a decision and repetition. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Because I get the question often when people ask me, how do you always have an answer when people have objections? And the reason is because I have repeated the conversation a lot of times. Because if you think about, if you zoom out for a second, the objections are always the same. Either it's money, either it's time, it's safety, or environment. And most of the objections are always the same. So with time, the more often you talk to the people, the more you will realize it's always the same issue, but the way you cover it is depends on the person who's sitting in front of you. So the problem is many believe they need perfect words, they need perfect slides, and they need perfect explanation. Of course, that can help you in certain points, especially because you get more confident. But I can tell you what people are really attracted to is real energy, a real why, and become the solution for their problems. So recruiting doesn't mean convincing someone. Recruiting means recognizing someone who's open to change and showing them really a door where they can find those solutions for their issue. So you have to understand one thing. You don't sell products. You don't sell a company. You offer them options. You offer them a solution. And network marketing is not just a product business. For me personally, I tell the people it's a system and a duplication business. And without recruiting in this business, you will not have a system. You will basically have a job. And let me say that really clearly because, and I will talk to the self-employed people right now. I know maybe it will trigger some of you guys, but the people who know me, they know I'm really straightforward when it comes to those topics because my job is not to petty you. My job is to tell you the truth. So you can clearly make a decision today and probably if you make the decision, change your life long term. And being fully booked is not a flex. And I'm talking straight to you guys who are self-employed. Because, and I will tell you exactly why. Because when you're fully booked, you are at your limit. And you can't tell me that you love to work 24 hours from Monday to Saturday or Monday to Sunday. And that's forever. Because even if it right now, you feel like you love your job, you love to work 24/7, there will come a time where you will ask yourself, why didn't I listen earlier? And that's really important because here's the truth. Most likely you're really good at what you do. You're maybe extremely good. And that's exactly why people come to you and say, I only want to work with you. And that sounds great. But it also means something else. It means you're at the bottleneck. Your time, your energy, and your capacity. And the moment you stop working, everything stops with you. So the real question isn't, can you get more clients? Because you can get them if you make more time. But what if you change that question? What happens? What if we don't replace what you're doing, but we add a multiplier to it? What if you keep doing where you're great at, but you add something that works alongside you, not because of you? And that's where the leverage comes. And that's why I love to work with Zinzino, because imagine Zinzino is a business opportunity where everyone else can join that business. Why? Because imagine what will not change in the next 10 years. And that's the topic health. Health will always be important. But imagine you're getting a business opportunity where you can measure with 2 drops of blood what 99% of the people have as an issue. And that's the imbalance of fatty acids, the absorption rate of the cells. Imagine you can measure that. What will change that for you? Because health is always important for the people. And no matter in what niche, in what business you are right now, you can always expand your portfolio. You can always expand the business and telling the people that you are working with the technology where 99% of the people needs us. And that's, for me personally, gives the people options. So it's not an either or it's not working. It's just a smart add-on for the people. And this is why so many high performers, a lot of successful people, or people who are already booked out, are working with Zinzino, because they can't change their work. But what they do is they do the same work like we do. We test the people first. So they are also analyzing their customer clients first, and then they offer a solution. And that's what we also do. So you can always help them by to leverage their business, but just adding this Zinzino concept. So that's something where I would encourage you guys, if you have people around you who are self-employed, especially those people who are super busy, that's the people you need. Because people who are super busy, they know exactly how to work. They have that work ethic. The only thing what they need is a solution to leverage their business. And that's where your superpower comes in. Let's talk about another thing. I only have, I don't know how long I will talk today, but I will cover different topics. I can't get into a lot of details, and I can't see your comments, which is really sad because I can't really go through your questions. But what I will do is, in the next few days, I will try to give you a recruiting sheet so you can get a cheat sheet of what I'm saying right now, which can also help you to get better in recruiting. But I will also suggest you to take notes. So the next topic what I want to cover is why people overcomplicate recruiting. And the first is people think or they decide on working based on what they have experienced in the past. And trust me, that will never go well. People don't want to be someone who's perfect. I know people want certainty before they start, but nothing works before you do it. So it works through actions, because through actions you will grow. You will learn from those experience what really people needs. Because recruiting has nothing to do with you. If you talk to someone, the only question they have in their mind is, what is it in for me? And people love to talk a lot from their me perspective. But if you always talk with the me perspective, the other person will shut down because they see your excitement, but they don't understand where their needs are, where their needs get covered. And recruiting always follows the same structure. It's contacting people, having conversations, doing presentations, helping them to make a decision and support them through the journey. And that's basically how we work. And there are three different way how you can invite someone. The first one is the direct approach. And that's something where you can call people, and I will go through the list a little bit later. But there is the direct approach where you can call someone and say, hey, Benjamin, how are you? A little bit of small talk and say, hey, there is a reason why I'm calling you. I just started a new project in health and nutrition where we can measure with 2 drops of blood the cellular health or the silent inflammation in our body or the absorption rate of our cells. And I know that you're a coach since 10 years and you have helped so many people through their weight loss journey. And I would love to show you that concept and also get your honest feedback on it. So that's one example. I have created that PDF for you guys where you have a couple of examples, but the cheat sheet, what I will do in the next days, it will also help you to get more confident in contacting people. So that's the direct approach what you can do. So always like asking them directly if they're open. You can also do that through voice messages. Hey Benjamin, I wasn't sure if you're able to talk. That's why I thought I will send you a voice message, and there is a reason why I'm contacting you because. And then you add the reason why you're contacting that person. And the third approach is you can also send them a message. I'm not a big fan of sending messages because I think when it comes to a business approach, it's more professional if you contact them directly. But I know there are some people who are a little bit shy. So you can also text them and say, "Hey Gabrielle, hope you're doing well. I wasn't sure if you have time to talk. That's why I thought I will shoot you a message. And the reason why I'm texting you is," and then you mention the reason. But one thing is really important. You will never do a presentation on the phone, through voice messages, or on text. Your voice message or your direct call shouldn't be longer than a minute. Because when you talk more than a minute, you confuse the people. They start asking you more questions. And instead of making them curious and open and asking them if they want to listen to it, you're going straight to the presentation mode and you're losing that person completely. And then there is a second approach what you can use, and that's the not direct approach. And that's more like getting feedbacks. For example, I'm sitting here with Sasha, and I'm talking to Sasha, and I'm asking him, "Hey Sasha, who's your number one person you contact when it comes to nutrition?" Or, "Hey Sasha, who do you contact when it comes, who's your number one contact when it comes to fitness, or when it comes to finance, or when it comes to marketing?" So you can ask the people for recommendation, but not in like, "Hey, I'm expanding my business and I'm looking for someone. Can you recommend me?" No, you will ask them directly, "Who's your number one contact when it comes to nutrition?" And then they ask, "Okay, that's Mike. Okay, can you tell me why, Mike?" "Yeah, because." And then you write down the compliments because that will help you to approach the person easier. Because when I contact Mike and say, "Hey, Mike, we have a common friend, Sasha. You know, remember him?" "Yeah, I remember him. I just called him and asked him who's the best person he knows when it comes to nutrition, and he couldn't stop talking about you because XYZ." And that's the reason why I'm calling you, because I'm a I have a business in health and nutrition, and I'm working with a technology where we can measure with 2 drops of blood the the recovery rate after the gym, or the fatty acids in our body, which has a huge impact when it comes to our cell health. And because you are an expert in what you do and you have the clients who works on their nutrition, I would love to show you the concept and get your honest opinion on it. Do you have 15 minutes for me? So that could be the indirect approach where you can get recommendation. And imagine Mike is interested and wants to sign up. Before you sign him up, you can contact Sasha and say, "Hey Sasha, thank you for the recommendation. I just talked to Mike and he was super excited and he's ready to start in my business. And I just wanted to ask you an honest question. Is it okay for you if I get the commission or you want it?" And that's how you can also get the people who are in the first really skeptical, because they're skeptical because they don't believe that they can do it. And that could be a really good social proof to prove them, "Hey, you just gave me one recommendation because you were so confident about that contact, because that person is really good in what they're doing. And because of your recommendation, you have opened up a door for that person to expand their business, to leverage their business. And I just want to be fair to you and want to give you that opportunity to sign him up as a partner and get the commission." And that could be the indirect approach. And you can do that with many other things. For example, when it comes to feedback, with our collagen, 10 days, you can contact the people and say, "Hey, I know you're a beautician and you will only work with something when it shows quality, and I need to show you those feedbacks." And then you can show the before afters. But also when it comes to our balance test, before after. So you can also use this. And what you can also do is asking for not recommendation but for opinions. You can tell them, hey, I know you're super busy, but you are a successful entrepreneur, and you're an expert in your field, and you have an amazing network. I'm just expanding a new business from Scandinavia with a technology where we are helping 97% of the people to get into balance. And I would love to get your opinion on it and maybe one or two advice. That could also be a reason or an option to get a really high level potential partner, because you're giving them compliments and respect, and they will definitely take the time and look through your business and give you an honest opinion. And imagine they can understand the opportunity. That's how you can get them in the business. What's the third option? And that's the super I would say the option for people who are super scared and nervous. And I will give you an example. If I'm talking to Margarita, and I know that Margarita is a super potential partner for me, but I'm so scared to ask her. And for example, she's a beautician. And I'm talking to my upline. So I'm calling Marco and I'm calling Margarita and I'm saying, hey, Margarita, hope you're doing well. See, there is a reason why I'm calling you. I'm just sitting with Marco right now. He's a successful entrepreneur in health and nutrition. And he's expanding a technology where they can measure with 2 drops of blood the absorption rate of the cells or the silent inflammation in the skin cells. And because you're a beautician and I know you're an expert in your field, I'm pretty sure that that's something really interesting for you, especially for your clients. Or you can also say, and he was asking me for a recommendation, who's the best beautician I know, and you were the first one who came into my mind. Are you open for new opportunities? Or is it something which sounds interesting for you? And if they say yes, perfect. Can I give Marco your number? And obviously she will say yes. And then your upline can contact Margarita, can do the approach, and you can see how they do it so you can get more confident and see that it works. So that are 3 options where you can use when it comes to recruiting. So as you can see, recruiting is not complicated. We make it too complicated in our brain. And when someone is telling me I don't have enough contacts, you can go out and ask for recommendation. You can contact any people you know. Even if you go to a salesperson, I tell you how I recruited in the past. I had zero contact. I had a list of 8 people, and 99% of the list were my family. I was in an environment where I wasn't allowed to talk to anyone. That's why I didn't have that list. But what I've done is I went to the H&M, I went to any store, and I told the salesperson, I'm looking for a nice dress for a convention. And she started, taking the time and explained me and asked me a lot of questions, what kind of dress I want. And I saw that she's really good in what she's doing, and I asked her for her name. And she said, Maria. And I said, hey, Maria, I need to give you a compliment, because there are not many people who really take the time to figure out what the customer really needs. And I will thank you for the recommendation. I will go through other shops, and if I don't find something, I will come back and I will come back to you. And then I wrote in my notebook, Maria dress for the convention. And the next day I called the H&M and M and I said, hey, can I talk to Maria? And then I asked, and then Maria came and I said, hey, Maria, I don't know if you remember me. I was the girl from yesterday, the woman from yesterday, and we talked about the dress. I just want to give another compliment, because it's not really normal that people really take the time. And like I said before, and that's the reason why I'm calling you, because I'm a business owner, or I have a business in health and nutrition, or you can say I'm expanding my business right now and I'm looking for good salespeople. And I couldn't stop thinking about how you approached me or how you did your job. That's why I wanted to ask you if you're open for a new opportunity. And I said salesperson for a reason, because that's what she's doing. She's really good in selling. If I would tell her I'm expanding a health project and I'm looking for people who are open, um, she's not into health. So whenever you recruit someone, you need to figure out first, why is that business interesting for that person? But I will come to that later. I hope I can cover that in that hour. The next thing what I want to talk about is how you basically go through conversations. And the first one is when you approach someone and they say they are open, it's really important that you ask them a lot of questions. And because those questions will open up the door, and there are always two reasons why people want to change. Either it's family or it's job or it's both. But you need to figure out what is the main reason they're sitting here. And sometimes when I don't figure out what they really want because they don't really are open to get me the answers I need, I ask them in a polite way. Um, can you maybe share with me why you said yes to the meeting? And sometimes they say, yeah, because I was just curious to figure out what you're talking about. And then I say, okay, how can I help you? And I said, yeah, what do you mean? And then I said, the most of the people who come to that meeting, they come because of two reasons. Either they want more time or they want more money. And I would love to know what is right now the most important thing for you, what you want to change. I hope that was English. So, and I ask a lot of questions. It's basically like, what are you doing for a living? Since when are you doing that? Was it always your dream to do that? Because most of the people who are into health and nutrition, I always ask them, hey, there are always two reasons why people start in health. Either they went through a own health journey or someone in the family. What was the reason? And most of the people say, yeah, it was one of some of the family members. Some had this one, some had this disease. So it's always good to understand where they're coming from, what kind of decision they have taken in their past, and if they're happy in their position right now. And then you can ask them, how many hours are you working per week? And are you happy in your job? What are you earning? Is it really your dream, or what are your dreams? Okay, is it realistic for you to achieve those dreams with the hour you're investing in your current job or in your current business? And they said, not really. So do you have a plan B, or do you find us, have you figured out a solution? Not really. What would need to change so you can get that life what you always wished for? Yeah, I probably need to work more, or I need to earn more money. How much money do you really need to earn so you can work less and get that financial freedom? And then they say, yeah, maybe 300 or 5,000 euros. Okay, in what time do you want to earn that money? Yeah, if there would be an option, I would love to do that in a year. And that's how you're already creating a business plan with that person. And you know that person wants to achieve diamond in a year, and you're already going through that whole plan. That's why asking question is really important. And I can tell you the first sentence decides everything, and you need to listen to the people. It's 95% the people and 5% business. I can tell you in the conversation before you do the presentation, the conversation before, you can close that person 4 to 5 times by asking the right questions. And it's always about their needs. That's why it's important that you figure out who's sitting in front of you. Why is that business important for that person? What kind of benefit that person has, and how can you help them? And what I also sometimes add is when I talk to the people and I'm not pretty sure if they're open, I always tell them, I don't know if that's for you, but I would love to show it to you, and let's find out if it fits. Because that's how you take out the pressure. And then you can also, while you're explaining a lot of things, it's important to ask question in between so you can see if that person is listening. So sometimes when I explain the test or the balance concept or the how network marketing works, I always ask questions to confirm that the person understand what I'm saying is, does it make sense for you? Or do you understand why so many people are unbalanced? Do you understand why so many people need their test? How many people in your environment do you think are unbalanced right now? So how many people do you know are in the same position like you and would love to earn more? And that's also the question which you can ask, because that can help you to close them more easily, because they have already told you how they will start their business and who will be the first people they would love to contact, because they either want to do the test or they're interested in the business. And let me see what else are in my notes. Yeah, there is also one question. What I also tell to the people, what I tell them, is, can I ask you a question that might change how you look at your supplement routine? And then I said, yeah, of course. Have you ever thought about how much nutrients your body is actually absorbing? What if 2 drops of blood could give you the answer? Would you be interested to take the test? And before I say the last 2 sentences, I let them answer first. When I ask them, have you ever thought about how much nutrients your body is actually absorbing? They said, not really. And then I say, what if 2 drops of blood could give you the answer? Would you be interested to take the test? What if the test is telling you that only 20% of nutrients are coming into your cells? What would that mean for you? And then people get more awareness because then they said, okay, that sounds logic. Yeah, I would love to do the test. And that approach you can also use when it comes to income or when it comes to other topics. The second phase is showing interest. And recruiting, as I said, is 95% listening. So you can ask them, what are you currently looking for? What would you like to change? What's holding you back right now? Because you don't recruit before you know their pain points. Because if you know their pain points, it's easier to do the conversation, because then you will really understand what they really need. And as I said, it's time, money, environment, or safety. And when it comes to time, we know exactly. In the beginning, of course, you have to invest at least 10 to 15 hours per week if you want to take it seriously. Because it's not just selling the business or selling the products or recommending the business, it's about understanding the system. But the best part about this business is you are not alone. You have someone on your side, you have a mentor, you have a sponsor, you have an upline who's guiding you through that. You have a lot of tools what you can add to leverage your business and save time, like doing webinars, doing live presentations, or sending out the recordings. So there are a lot of tools where you can get time long term. When it comes to money, we have amazing campaigns which can give you that boost so you can get the money what you have invested for the ultimate kit back in a couple of days, because you know what campaigns we have, but you really need to use the campaign as not just as an eye opener, not just as a social proof, but also to create a culture where working with the system is totally normal. When someone starts in my team, I always tell them the best thing what you can get right now is you don't have to invent a new system, because you get a proven system here, which how we have built the past 10 years over 71,000 customers. And we are giving you the system for free. But on top, you're getting my mentorship and I will guide you. And then I show that person the first steps. And I also tell that person why is it important to do those steps, because that creates duplication, but also that leverage when it comes to a system. What is the next phase? The next phase is showing the solution. So I'm honest with you guys. I think Zinzino is not the typical network marketing, because I'm really open when it comes to network marketing systems. I know a lot of companies, they have amazing products, but most of the products they have, let's not talk about the price range, but let's talk about convincing people how good their products are. We are not even in that position where we have to convince people. We just have to test them. And the best part is they are customer for at least 6 months, but we know their retention rate is over 18 months. But imagine the difference between other network marketing companies and us. And I've shared that story also in Oslo at Stage. When I had my surgery, I was gone for a year. I wasn't active in the business. And when I came back after a year, I had over 8,000 customers more. And with the help of my team and putting a little bit of work in the last 2 weeks, I did a double rank up. So I went from ambassador to black ambassador. And show me one network marketing company where this is possible. And that's because we have a tool where 97% of the people needs us. And we don't have a niche, we don't have a target group, because we can also test kids. We can test anyone. And that's the good part about Zinzino. So I'm showing here a system which is already working for thousands of people, and you can copy that step by step. And that's what you need to explain to people. And then balance test is our tool. The system is the security. The community is the support. You have a low risk when you start in Zinzino. You go into immediate action because you start selling the test. And imagine how easy it is to sell the test. I've shared it in the PDF before, but what we do as soon as someone starts in that business, your number one task is not to learn the system. No. In 48 hours, we are selling the 9 tests we have in the Ultimate Kit, because the one test you're using it for yourself. And in the next 2 days, it's my job to help you to sell your next 9 tests. So you're making a list of 20 people or 30 people where you know exactly they need it. That could be people who are taking supplements, who love to work on their health, people who are taking medication, kids, anyone, because we don't know if they have an imbalance of the fatty acids. We can only see it if we test them. And then you just call them and say, hey, I just met Marco. He's a successful entrepreneur, and he's working with an interesting technology where we can measure with 2 drops of blood the absorption rate of the nutrients in your cells. And I know that you're taking supplements, and I'm pretty sure that you're someone who would love to know how much percentage of the nutrient is really coming into your body, right? They say, yeah, of course. Would you love to do the test? And that's how you can sell the first test in the first 48 hours. And I promise you, if you start doing that, and I have mentioned in the PDF different target groups, we are not selling 8 tests, we are selling up to 40 tests, because people see after the 5th or 6th call, oh my God, it's working, and people are open. The energy goes up, and they say, okay, I think I can contact that person. And then they enter one sentence. Hey, I know that you're into health and you love to work on your nutrition, but what I've realized is most of the people who have issue when it comes to health, it starts in the family because everyone eats the same food. And I want you to give the same opportunity to your family, so you guys can test yourself and figure out where is it coming from. And if there is an unbalance, there is a system behind this, and we can provide you the solution. Do you want 3 or 4 tests? That's where you can also add more tests when you talk to a family member, because there are a lot of families who would love to test their kids first. Because I always get the question, is it also suitable for kids? And I said, of course, it's really important for kids. Because imagine, we can measure the mental strength. So that's how you can also add some more questions so you can sell more tests. And then as soon as they sell the first test, they have basically 80% what they have invested back. And as soon as they get the results, they have the 4 customers. And that's the first bonus you get in Zinzino. That means the selling also provides an outcome, and it's not a difficult effort you need to do. You know what I mean? And the last phase is closing. And that's where most people have issue. And closing is clarity, not pressure. Because if you are not willing to do a call to action, do you think that person will come to you and say, hey, I want to sign up? Some people do, but you need to understand, people get excited in the first 48 hours. After that, life comes in between. And if you don't take the initiate and ask them, hey, what is the reason for you to start in that business? And they say, I want more freedom. What do you mean by freedom? Or does it make sense for you? After someone has seen the webinar, I always ask them, not like, what did you like the most? I ask them, what was the most interesting part for you? Was it more the technology we offer, or was it more the leverage what you can use in that business? That's how I can also understand where is the direction going. Is it more into customer or business, or is it more a business but more customer focused? And I think, the next one is the 3 biggest recruiting mistakes. And there are basically 3, and that's talking too much, fear of rejection. Sometimes people wait till the person is contacting them. That's what not happen. You need to go from meeting to meeting to meeting till you close that person. And sometimes people stop expanding their list, and that's really sad. So the moment you have approached 50% of your list, you need to start expanding it by asking questions like getting recommendation. Who's the number one person you contact when it comes to finance? Who's who's the most successful person you know in your network? Or who's the number one person you go to when it comes to beauty or nutrition? You can add anything. Or when it comes to who you grow up with, if you don't have the numbers, go to social media. Come on, there are so many options today where you can ask them, especially if you go for grocery shopping. You see that salesperson every single day because you do grocery shopping. What if you start by just asking, hey, how are you? How was your day? Just making a compliment. Thank you so much for always being so polite and giving your best, and just creating a relationship, because you never know if that's your new crown. You have no idea how many amazing stories I have in my team by people who just approached them by not really thinking twice. They just thought, okay, let's just try it. And then there were the diamonds they were looking for. So stop sabotaging yourself and just talk to the people and give them the option to decide. Your task is to invite the people. What they do with their information, it's their responsibility. It's not yours. But your job is to serve people and go out and talk to them and tell them what amazing opportunities we have. And you have to understand that recruiting is a volume game. It's a numbers game. And the more people you talk to, the more quality you will create long term. And what else, what we can cover? Yeah, what is really important in recruiting? That's what I basically had to say in the beginning. It's you need to understand that you are like a Netflix series. That's why I post a lot. I don't really care about when it comes to likes and comments or how many people are approaching my stories. Of course, I answer them and I talk to them, I build relationship, but I always post because I want to be active in the eyes of the people. I want them to see me every second day or every day when it comes to my stories. Because I know even if they don't like it, they see my posts. They see it and they follow my journey. And that's how I recruit the people, because when I start talking to them, they already know, okay, she's doing something where she's really good at, but I don't have all the informations because I don't post about the products, because the company is already a brand. It's important that you brand yourself and you can decide in what niche. Of course, if you are into health and nutrition, you can post the product, but don't post the product 24/7. Post success stories, post before after tests, post educate them when you're going into a niche where you want to post about the product. But when you do it like me, I post about network marketing, more about the freedom you get with that business. So I post about my journey, my obstacles I had, but also the success stories in my team. So I'm like a Netflix series for the people. I'm like an advertisement. And you can be a good or bad advertisement. And because people will judge you and how you show up. So please, if you make stories, don't do it when you wake up, when your hair look messy, or when you have under eye bags. Seriously, you need to be the product of your product. And if you want to represent Zinzino, if you want to represent health, you need to look after you. I was struggling 10 years with my health, and trust me, I was feeling so uncomfortable talking to people, but still I understood what that business can do for other people. I had a different health story, but I'm working every day on myself, and I think people can see it. And that's also what I recommend you. If you're shy to talk to people or talk in stories, you don't have to do it. I have built my business in the beginning without social media, but you need to be visible. Either you go out and talk to people, go to networking events, or you go to yoga classes, Pilates, or whatever, personal development events, but you need to show up somewhere where you can expand your list. Otherwise, when your list goes smaller and smaller, it's not the business fault, it's not Zinzino's fault, it's not the product's fault, it's your own. So you need to take responsibility, ownership of your business. And also when it comes to your story, if I ask you today, what are you doing for a living, or what is Zinzino exactly, what is your business exactly, you need to know the answer. So because people don't connect with the company, they don't connect to the product, they connect to your story. So why did you start? What has changed? What doubt did you had? What challenges did you overcome? How did this business impacted your life and your family? And if your story is still developing, then use someone else's stories, especially who's in the same niche, because then they can identify to each other. So it's really important that you know your elevator pitch. I can't cover that because it will be too much. But if you don't know how to represent yourself in a minute, then contact your sponsor today, because that's your task for today. And when it comes to target group, that's really important, because you need to understand there are 5 types of people when it comes to human beings. The very wealthy people, and I would say that's 5%. And then we have the fairly wealthy people, and that's, I would say, 20%. And then we have the average earners, and that's 50%. And then we have the people who are struggling, that's 20%. And then we have the very, I would say, poor people who are really, really struggling, and that's the 5% of the people. And you don't build system with group 1 with a very wealthy person. Sometimes you does. If they want to have another income stream, use the network or help other people, then yes. But your strongest group are the average people. And that's the group 3. Why? They are confident enough to go through the risk, do different decisions. They are hard worker. They are really, their work ethic is amazing, because they want a change. They want a different life, and they are open for an extra income. Of course, you can also do that with group 4, but you can only do it if you see the drive and the potential with those people, because sometimes you can't help them. Sometimes people are so stuck in their life, in their issues, in their obstacles, which is holding them back, and you can't force them. You can just offer them the help. But I can tell you, with the average people, with the group 3, you can build your business. And I have a lot of examples when it comes to approaching people, but we don't have the time, but I will try to add it in the PDF. But what is really important for me to tell you is, there are also different type of people in network marketing. Not everyone wants the same thing. And I will tell you now 5 types of people, and I want you to figure out who are those people in your team, because that can really help you to create the leadership you need, but also create that core team. And that's the retailer. That's the people who love the products and they buy it for themselves, especially when they get the nice campaign offer where they get some discounts. Then you have the cheerleader. That's the people who loves the products and they share it with friends and family whenever they have the opportunity. And then you have the representative people. And that's the people who are actively selling the subscriptions, who are pro team, top 200. They are really not just super confident by what the products can do, but they're also really inspired or motivated when it comes to the income, especially with the bonuses we get. And then you have the manager. That's the people who wants to go full time in that business. They build team, they build system, they earn the rewards, the bonuses. They love to take responsibilities and be a leader. And then you have, of course, the business builder. They go more in depth and wants to create different leadership teams. They want to create volume. They want to create duplication. So your job is not to force people into a role. Your job is to recognize where they really belong naturally, because that can also help you to create a really good passive income. I have a lot of leaders in my team. I wouldn't say they are you can't really call them leader, because a leader for me is someone who really builds a team and get into duplication. I would say I have some partners in my team who love to sell the products, who are really customer focused. They have 200, 300 personal customers and they love it. They have an amazing income, and that's super okay. And that's the beauty of Zinzino. In other network marketing companies, you don't really have that, because that's an active income all the time, because you always have to convince the people to buy the products again. Here you don't have it, because the people are on subscription for at least 6 months, but you can leverage it by asking them if they want to test their family, if how happy they are with their product. And that's the last chapter I want to cover before we end it live, is making customers as a partner. And I will give you a tool how you can do it. If I have a customer who's super happy with the product experience, I ask them, what has changed since you has taken the product? And then they start telling their story. And then I ask them, do you think it's realistic for you to share that to 10 other people, what you just told me? And then they said, yeah, of course. You know what the best part is? If you do that, you will not just help other people who are in a similar situation like you, you're also opening up a chance for you to get the products for free. And after the fifth recommendation, you can tell them, hey, you can basically start earning your own bonus after the fifth recommendation. And then they ask how. And then you can show them how they can get from a customer to a partner. And you didn't just ask them, hey, are you open? You just asked them first about the product experience, and if they can share, if it's realistic, if they can share that story to 10 other people. Because if you start with excitement, the belief is much higher that it's realistic for them to do the business. So reach out, make them feel seen, and tell them also, you're the first one I'm calling because you're my first customer. You have an amazing results, and I would love people to know that. And what's also important when it comes to recruiting, you have to really listen when someone says, for example, yes, but. Because here you're about to learn something really important. So don't interrupt the people. If someone says, I couldn't do that, don't come with defending that situation and saying, no, you can, and I can help you. Instead of ask them, have you ever had an experience like that before? Because if you ask them open questions, questions open people and statements close them. So there is a difference between how you are listening to them and what you're really asking them. Because if you're asking them a closed question is, do you really think that you can do that? They will say, yes, I can't do that. The conversation is closed. But if you ask them, have you ever had an experience like that before? You're opening up a new conversation. So also train open and close conversation. That was a game changer for me in that business. So when we talk about recruiting now, that's the points basically I'm covering for you guys. I would love to go more in depth and give you more information, but I think that was enough for today. So I want to give you a task. I want you guys to contact, when you close that live, 10 people. You can choose whatever you want to approach them. If it's a customer, you want to make them a partner, or you want to get recommendation or the direct approach. I have given you a lot of examples now. So you can choose for yourself how you want to approach them. And I want you to do daily tasks. For example, every day you will contact at least 3 people or get at least 3 new contacts, or you will send out at least 3 presentations or book 3 meetings with your sponsor. Or if you can do the presentations by yourself, you will book 3 meetings, which you will do by yourself. And I want you to make that a daily routine. Even if Christmas are coming up, trust me, that's not excuses. And I saw one video on social media which was really interesting when it comes to objection handling, because people are scared to contact people because Christmas is coming up. If I'm, for example, calling someone and I'm saying, hey, Benjamin, how are you? How's everything going? And then I'm trying to figure out the pain points by asking the right question. And then I ask them if they are open to listen to it. And they say yes. And before they come with the but, and I say, you know what? I really want to acknowledge that and respect you for being so open. And that was the reason why I called you, because most of the people, especially who are in your field, would come up um, with reasons why it's not the best time to listen to it right now. But you know exactly like me, if you don't act now, the situation will never change, right? And that's how you can already go through that objections before. Because when you cover that, that person will not say afterwards, hey, I don't think it's the right time. Because you have given them the compliment and they also understood that she's right. If I don't take the decision now, nothing will change. So that's also something I would love to share with you guys. So I hope you learned something new. I couldn't see any comments. I don't know why. Maybe I needed training how to go live on Facebook, but I hope it helped you. And yeah, I wish you a great evening, best of luck, and an amazing closing of the month. Bye bye.